Right, hey, you're listening to the Dead Man's Tone podcast, a show that's all about horror, writing, news, and drama, all about having a good time. Broadcast live from a trailer park deep in the heart of Meth County, Texas. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. With me is SK, a life coach that can unfuck your life if you let him. And Tammy G is out tonight. She's out because she has a hot date with Michael Myers. You hear that, SK?
Yeah, that poor guy.
Yeah, they're out making babies. Tammy G and Michael Myers are out making babies. And what Michael Myers doesn't know is that she's kind of like a praying mantis, from what I hear. She's like a black widow. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That explains many things.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Too many things. But yeah, that's what's going on. Sorry for her. Feel sorry for him. All right. And we have a guest tonight. We have the Pete Molnar. How's it going?
How's it going, Jesse? SK, thanks for having me on.
Hey,
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
I'll be fine once these badgers get back in their cages.
Right?
Now that sounds like a problem.
Yep.
All right, let me switch this here. Okay. So before I get started here, let me just say, hey, if you're not already a patron of the Deadman's Tome podcast or the Deadman's Tome, feel free to do so. Go to patreon.com/Deadman's Tome. Just for $1 a month, you get access to the bonus shows, which you do at least once a month. And the bonus show this month, I'll be drinking a lot of hot sauce, but doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah. And you also get access to the stories and the books and everything that we publish. So look forward to that. Anyway, any other shout outs other than, Satan is Your Friend is out, and the Monster Party anthology is about to come out. Just got the story selected, just waiting on the cover. So maybe sometime beginning October, maybe at the latest mid-October. So look forward to that. Anyway, yeah. So I think we're ready to get this show on the road. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right.
Whatever.
So Pete Molnar, who are you and what do you do?
By day, I'm a high school English teacher.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sophomores and
On
juniors.
purpose?
Yeah, it's a calling. I don't know who called me, but it is indeed a calling. And I also run a creative writing club there, teaching young scribblers how to get the words on the page. And by night, I'm scribbling down scary, spooky stories.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait. How do you keep the motivation to do that?
Well, you know what? It's become a habit that has lasted for roughly 30 years. And if I miss a day, I lose touch with the characters. I lose touch with the time and place I'm supposed to be in. And then you really have to kind of find your way back, and it's not easy to do. So it's better to just keep that connection going every day. Because then when you get back in front of your computer, it's like rejoining, friends that you just talked to yesterday. And you know
Okay.
where they're at, and you know where they're supposed to go.
Okay.
So I wanna just touch briefly on the teaching side.
Sure.
Because I think every writer can say this, but there were like 2, maybe 3 teachers that really made an impact as far as writing goes, and huge impacts. And without those people, who knows? Probably would never be doing any of it. Wouldn't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so having, that kind of a teacher available, and having the opportunity to, and I don't know, the luck of the draw to get into their classes, I guess. Because a lot of times that's all it is.
Well, I tell them from the start is that I'm not going to ever have them read anything I myself haven't already read and really, really love. So, there's not going to be any Moby Dick. You know, no great white bore. There's going to be Poe. There's going to be Hawthorne. One thing that the students come in knowing about me is that they're going to be reading a lot of suspense and horror and psychological stories. And that's just kind of how it worked out, because I can teach a lot of the author, the different figurative languages by using these stories. So it's fun for me and it's fun for them, and it just never gets boring. It never gets boring reading Poe. Never.
No.
So.
No.
Yeah, I mean that's because Poe knows how to grab you too, to build the atmosphere and all that. I mean, it's
absolutely
good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely a student of Poe, more so than like you know, your Lovecraft or because I know there's a lot of Lovecraftian horror out there.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really see a lot of people who you know, say they're influenced heavily by Poe.
Which Lovecraft is heavily influenced by Poe. That's funny about that, you know.
Yeah.
I did a college paper on the Cask of Amontillado.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay, real fast. I almost forgot about this. Someone did pay for an ad, so I do need to read this. This is important. It keeps the lights on. Dusty Davis. Dusty Davis, okay? Look, this Dusty Davis author page right here, all right? Humans sometimes have dark thoughts and desires that come into our hearts unbidden. A labyrinth of horrors delves into some of those desires and explores those dark and dangerous places that will scare the best of us. A Labyrinth of Horrors is available on Amazon in paperback and digital. So, Labyrinth of Horrors right here on the screen. Definitely check out this book right here, okay? All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost forgot. I put a note right here.
Yeah, don't do that.
I know. I put a note right here. I was like, wait, God, I got to interrupt this. Anyway. Man, sorry about that. Anyway. So, I guess I know why horror. But, I mean, was there something... I know SK likes to ask one. Is there something, like, that happened... I mean, do you write horror because nothing bad happened to you? Or... that's not the way SK writes
because
it.
something bad did happen to you.
I don't think there's anybody who goes into horror without something having shaken them and really gotten into their psyche at a young, formative age. And for me, it was as simple as going to a funeral when I was 12 and standing graveside and making the mistake of looking down through the opening between the casket and the gurney and looking down into the black hole. And that really, for some reason, stayed with me. And that night, I remember I couldn't fall asleep because I kept seeing that white coffin at the end of my bed. And I couldn't fall asleep from it. And it really, just something about going down into that darkness for all time has just always fascinated and terrified me at the same time. And I've just been trying to capture that same kind of tone in my writing. I want people to feel that same kind of fear that I felt standing there that day in November when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So,
and that was a dream you had?
It was literally, I wasn't hallucinating, but I don't know what it was. I just kept picturing that coffin literally right at the end of my bed.
Do your parents own a funeral home? I mean,
you know, it's funny.
No,
it's funny that you say that, because my family on my mother's side runs a burial service and a funeral home in South Philly that's been there since the 20s. Baldy Funeral Home. So I do kind of come from that per se.
Do they have a lot of weird paranormal shit going on?
Not that I've heard. Not that I've.
Okay.
Disappointing in that area, but okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff they don't let out.
Probably.
There's got to be something.
They're not allowed to. You know, it's like the Ghostbusters. You don't want to let it out, right? You don't let the person in there to shut down the grid. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, because we all know those homes, those funeral homes, they all have grids. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, So, but any because I'm curious about what that comes from. So there was this casket that was next to your bed, and this dream, this thing that you were in. That's fascinating.
It was ever since then. I'm not comfortable going to funerals. I get anxious. Like, I have like panic attacks when I see a funeral procession driving past me in the opposite lane.
Oh wow!
It's just something I've always dealt with my whole life, and it's funny to say, I have a fear of death, because I mean, really, who doesn't? But it is pretty ingrained in my phobias.
Sounds more like a fear of funerals.
Could be. Yeah, the whole rite of
Yeah.
the death rites, all of it. Not comfortable with it. So, of course, what better way to deal with it than to write about it on a regular basis?
From what I can tell, it's much easier dealing with a funeral being dead than not being dead. I mean, they charge so much. It's like, it's not, okay, that's a whole other thing. But, okay. So, anything else, though? Anything else from your experience that, because you mentioned phobias, and one thing about your work that I noticed is that phobias play a part in just about every story that I've seen of yours. Whether it be like fear of water, man, there was another one. I couldn't. Agoraphobic.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one in my book, Broken Birds. There's a character who suffers from severe agoraphobia.
Okay.
And she's basically existed for like 5 years of her life as just someone twitching behind a curtain that the neighbors know very little about. But I've encountered that in a couple of people, and it's always fascinated me. It's always fascinated me that particular condition, and I see that condition as something that is going to become more common the more we advance technologically. Because really, when people have no reason to leave their house and everything can be delivered to them, they're not going to want to leave their house. And when it comes time to leave their house, they're going to feel some panic. I kind of feel like that's where we're going in a way,
People already don't know how to interact with the actual world.
Yes.
In meaningful ways.
Yeah. And that's going to be a lost art. The whole act of face-to-face communication is going to be a lost art after a while,
So, by the way, I forgot to tell you, another sponsor for the show is Dine Dash, or Dash Dine. I don't even know. I don't even know which one it is. DoorDash.
Dine and Dash?
Yeah, DoorDash. That's the one here. So I had to say, get your subscription to DoorDash, okay? That way you can just stay home. You can call people up. They could give you the food. You don't have to leave the house, right? Look at that.
Right.
There you
He
go.
needs to socialize. Come on now. Come on. He needs to get out. But so
that was
I think
a good segue. Yeah.
Now, so I take it that you dealt with some phobias, like personally. That's
Yeah. I've seen it in other people, people that I love, friends that I've had, kind of show itself in different ways. And in some people, it's very crippling, and in others, they found a way to kind of circumvent it and overcome it. But I think that if I hadn't become a teacher, I would have become a therapist, because abnormal psychology has always fascinated me. And it's kind of found its way into my stories, because I'm of the belief that, at least for me, monsters will never be as frightening as human beings are, because of their capabilities and their capacity for cruelness towards one another.
mm-hmm.
So that it figures a lot into my writing, because that's what scares me.
Oh, man, you should have heard last night's show.
That was bad. That was real bad.
Albert Fish.
I was worried.
Shit, that guy.
I was actually worried we'd be kicked off of YouTube just from the words alone. I was like, oh shit. These guys. I mean, I'm a horrible producer. I don't ask him, hey, who are you covering? Like, what are you talking about? What images are you going to show on the screen? That's what I was worried about. Oh, no. What images are they going to show?
No, we didn't have any.
I know, you didn't have any.
There really weren't any bad images from Fish, but his words were, oh my God.
Yeah.
His actual words. And he liked to write.
He did. He was very prolific. Yes.
And we didn't even share the really bad stuff.
Wow. But yeah, man, that will get you. By the way, I will be taking shots, $5 shots. If you want to, you don't have to. But hey, drinking this Kraken rum, releasing the Kraken.
Oh, is that any good?
That's all right. The name
All right.
the name is better than what it actually tastes. It's all right. It's a dark rum.
Does it taste like, old dead?
It has a
sea
fierce
monster?
bite. It does kind of have a fierce bite to it. But if you want to release the Kraken, it's right here. All right. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about your work. Which one do you want to do? Broken Birds, because that's your newest one, right? That's coming out.
Yeah, that's my debut novel, released through Stitch Smile Publications. Came out in August. Official release. It was a lot of fun. We did it at Scares the Care charity weekend. It's basically Marley and Me meets Helter Skelter. That's how I've always kind of seen it in my mind. But it centers around a particular condition called the broken bird syndrome, whereby a man seems to gravitate towards women who are broken in some kind of way emotionally, and he seeks to fix them. But what happens typically is...
Wait. You're saying that like it's not every man.
Well, it's almost like a magnetic effect. The guy seems to draw them to him, but then what happens is when they start to get better, the gentleman starts to feel less needed, and he's no longer the center of that woman's universe, and moves on to the next broken bird. And that is kind of the relationship between two of the baddies, and in the book. The good guy is an Iraq war veteran who actually I modeled after Tim O'Brien, who wrote The Things They Carried, a war memoir. So my main character wins a Pulitzer for his war memoir, and he's trying to live this normal life with his dog, Albie, who he rescued over in Afghanistan when he was fighting. But his family and this other family, the family that has the broken bird syndrome running through it, they cross paths in a very deadly way. And needless to say, the main character's dog is taken and used for demonic and pretty sick, twisted purposes.
What?
So
not
now-
the dog.
Yes.
Not the dog.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it so many times. Why do you hate animals? Why?
They could have used a cat. They could have used a cat, right?
Nobody gives a shit about cats.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I try to explain. I want at the forefront to be the relationship between a human being and their dog, and how they would move heaven and earth to protect that animal if it got into harm's way. So I tried to keep that front and center in the story. But the bad scenes, they do come in. There's a scene that I read where the woman Stella, who suffers from agoraphobia, decides she's going to end it all, but she wants to take her cat with her because she's afraid no one will take care of it if she's dead.
Wait.
So
They had a cat with them the whole time, but they chose the dude's dog to sacrifice. Oh
yes,
man,
because
that family's
the
sick.
dog. Yeah, the dog is going to be used as a mechanism to hurt other people. So there's scenes of animal cruelty in there that were very hard for me to write. So much so that I almost scrapped the book and went on to something else. But then I realized that if I'm going to do this justice and really shine a light on not just the good pet owners, but the depraved people out there who hurt animals. then you have a pretty balanced story, you know. Because
and clearly people are going to react to that.
Well, you know, I did a reading of that particular scene with the cat in the bathtub, and you know how it almost met its end. I did a live reading of that. It scares the care, and it affected people. It affected people.
And that's what a story should do, right? I mean, especially horror. Horror's not going to make you feel good. It's not.
Yeah, it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to. One thing I learned from Poe is his single effect, which basically means that the whole story has to have one common effect of dread that kind of is like a thread that runs through it, because it kind of keeps the reader on edge and digging their nails into the tabletop the whole time.
Yeah,
if you let up that dread and that single effect, then the reader is going to have a moment to breathe and maybe lose connection to the story, and then you may have lost them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the animal cruelty and the animal love, because you cannot have light without dark.
Of course.
And vice versa. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you mentioned there, I mean, how do you keep that thread, the thread of terror, the thread of dread,
the thread of
dread? How do you keep that going?
Setting, conversation, just really the mood and the tone. You have to really be consistent about that. Don't start a chapter as beginning with a sunny day, because that just is kind of alien to the horror genre. A beautiful sunny day with the sun shining. You're going to have rain. You want to have overcast clouds. You want to have people who are conflicted emotionally, people who abuse other people, and just this dark underbelly of humanity. It has to be present really in every scene in a horror novel, I believe.
Mm. Now, what sort of response did you get from the reading? Did you get anyone who was like, "Oh, could he change that?"
The next day, I sold out of the book.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you didn't get one person who complained. Usually, there's one maybe, but
I had people come up to me who said, that was very hard to listen to, and it's hard to read. But at the same time, man, I tell you, my publisher Lisa Vasquez would even say the next day they all went. All my books went. I really thought I would sell, because I'm a new name. People really don't know me yet, and I thought I'd sell maybe one or two if I'm lucky. But we sold all of them, and I think I guess I was a good advocate the night before at that reading,
nice.
and it touched people. So I guess I did my job.
Well, I mean, it has a great cover too.
Yeah, it's also designed by Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah, she does some pretty good cover work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think she does all her covers, right?
She does, and when she showed it to me, I fell in love, because it really captures the theme perfectly.
Man, she has some talent. I don't know. I mean, I've got to need more cover artists. I don't know. I've got to talk to some other people. Just because there's a greater volume of work, I don't want people to go, "Oh, what's going on with Damascus?" Damascus is great. He has more work than ever. I just need more. Anyway, so what thing about the story? I don't know if I want to give it too much away. So you have this Iraq War veteran, right? He's kind of like, I guess, the protagonist, and you have like this family here that's has their problems with the broken bird syndrome. So I know they cross paths and they have a conflict, right? Because especially when they take his dog and they kill him.
Yes.
But I mean, are there any other hints you can give us? Like, I mean, does he try to save one of them? Does he does he realize, like, oh wait, these ladies, these women, they have this, that, and the other with them, but maybe I could save them. I don't.
Well, Will, the main character, the Iraq War veteran, he really does epitomize the pet owner who will move mountains to get to his pet. even so much so that he circumvents any police assistance because the police are involved, and Will kind of becomes I guess a one-man vigilante, just out to get his dog because he fears that if the police get to his dog first, after the dog has been made to do such horrific things, that they will kill his dog. So he has to get to the dog before the police do and put the dog down. So it's really a race against time.
Yeah. Always an important factor.
Man,
Yes,
there's something about a good dog, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
The one's a pee over the floor, though. I mean, come on. I'm curious about I'm curious about the broken bird syndrome. How much research did you do for this book?
Well, I got a lot of help from my wife, who's a psychology major, and I dealt. She filled in a lot of the blanks for me, and I also did some research by reading the DSM manual, the Diagnostic Studies Manual, which is basically a breakdown of all the psychoses that are documented in case by case basis, and just really the further you travel down into that rabbit hole, not just the broken bird syndrome, but just the others, so many psychoses that are out there and afflicting people. It boggles the mind. But it's really also a hotbed for writing a good horror story because truth is stranger than fiction.
It really is.
Yeah. So I'm going to be dipping back into that DSM manual quite often. I think there's a lot there, a lot to dig into.
Now, did you
the thing you mentioned about the broken bird syndrome early on had to do with attraction, like this person attracts these broken women to him, which is it's both it's definitely, attraction is a very real thing, but it's almost impossible to quantify it. I mean, I've seen examples. I know a friend of mine who has a very specific, comforting way with people who are terminally ill.
Yes,
and she's surrounded by people with horrific illnesses. I don't know anybody like that. She's got dozens of them around her at any given time because that's her way, right?
Absolutely.
These people just show up in her life.
Right.
Is it that misery loves company, or is it not even that?
It's not even that. I mean, it's like get jobs at the company she works at, and then they turn out to have some awful illness. It's just, and it's on and on and on.
Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes, it just seems without even trying, the people you interact with, the people you meet, just seem to have a common thing about them. I don't know. But then there's people who actively look for people and then try to exploit them.
Yes.
That abusers, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could see that with the broken. I mean, does this guy do that with these ladies? Is he seeking them out, or are they just
essentially, yeah. He's an insecure guy who needs to have women who have placed him in the center of their universe.
Oh, so he's like a wife beater.
Yes, exactly right.
Oh, yeah,
exactly right.
Shit can burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he definitely gets his. But at the
turn up the ovens.
The poor dog.
The
poor dog is locked into it. Yeah.
Oh man. It's one thing to play around, it's one thing to mess around, but man, that stuff, the beat and all that stuff, that's no go.
Yeah.
No go.
Absolutely.
Not good.
Absolutely.
It's not exactly healing the broken birds, is it?
No, absolutely. It's like Jesse said. It's straight up exploitation. Absolutely.
But isn't there a level of that syndrome that really does want to help them?
I think to a certain extent yeah. But when it becomes something that is crippling for the mentally ill individual, when they start to feel like they are being kept instead of healed and helped, that's when it's a problem. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, did you interview anyone that had a broken bird syndrome, or maybe battered wife syndrome, or battered wives?
No, I have not. Unfortunately, I didn't. I did research into police procedural, so I would get that right, and I just scoured the internet.
That stuff gets hard too, because it's like
it does.
If she doesn't press charges, she or he, because it could be the other way. But if they don't press charges, man, it's hard to do much. You can't really, especially because they're adults, right? If they don't want to press charges, it's like, oh, okay, well, you're going back to the problem.
That's exactly right.
And there's a whole other element to this book, because we didn't really dig into the satanic ritual, which, by the way,
yes,
Satan is Your Friend. New anthology by Dead Man's Tone is out. Sorry, a little shameless plug. But so let's dig into the Satanism part. What's going on there? It's
I discovered I needed to find a way to have the antagonists manipulate the dog in a certain way, and the supernatural element was the best mechanism to be able to do that. And I came across a splinter religion from Santeria called Palo Mayombe, which is practiced by those who, I guess, are a little bit more into the sinister practices and the sinister realms. The particular spell that is cast on the dog, the transference that takes place, is purely a part of my imagination, but I kind of hitched it to the Palo Mayombe wagon to kind of ground it in some kind of reality, I guess, because Palo Mayombe is a real splinter religion.
For real, that's some legit. That's a legit. Okay, I want to find something from that. Like, can we talk to them? Would they come onto the podcast and talk? I mean, I'm curious. I have questions for them.
I guess they would.
I mean, I'm not like trying to give them a platform or something. I just want to delve into the mind of someone who's in that religion. What did you find out about this group?
I found out that they're largely Creole, and they're kind of centered around like the southeastern region of the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a dark arts splinter sect of Santeria. Santeria kind of gets I guess a bad name, but Palo Mayombe, for all intents and purposes, kind of deserves a bad name, and I think that's why Santeria kind of distances itself from the practice of Palo Mayombe. Now, I hope that someone from that religion isn't listening and doesn't stop my heart in the middle of the night tonight.
Can they do that?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like suddenly
we'll find out tomorrow.
I don't know, man. I've been known to like walk that line of subjects like this. Like kind of flirt with danger in that area. I mean, what's the most alarming thing you found out about that group?
They're still into sacrificing of animals, and that I think is probably the most disturbing part about it. But it also ties into the book.
Does it work?
It does. I don't really know if it works. Have them on. I would love to hear them. I would love to hear them. Elaborate. But I'm
sure the animals would say nope.
Yeah. I want to ask them, like, why did you sacrifice it? And did it work? Did you actually get what you were trying to get? Or was it one of those things where you have to, like, sacrifice more and more and more? It's like the goalpost just continues to move, It's like,
Well, that's how that kind of belief system works, is that, failure to get your desired result, which should cause you to go, shit, this is bullshit.
You would think.
Instead, it makes people do exactly as you say. Well, we weren't worthy enough. We did something wrong. We got to, have more faith. We weren't pure enough, or whatever the case is, that they have to double down and do more.
So you lost, but you continue to go into it because why not? Because you already spend so much. You might as well just go all the way. That sounds like something related to gambling. What is that? What am I looking for? Okay. Oh man. Well, that's. I did not know this. Like, mind blown. Not to pull a Joe Rogan, but man, you just blew my mind. Mind blown. Okay. Is there something else about that group that would blow my mind even more?
Other than that, I from what I gather, they're very secretive, because a lot of the things that they involve themselves with would bring the heavy hand of the law down on them. I couldn't find much, but I found enough to be able to weave it into the story, and have it work for the plot.
I see. Did you talk to any of them in person?
No, I have not.
All right, we need to send Tammy G. We need to send Tammy G over there and have her talk to them in person. I think
if she survives her date tonight.
Oh no, she's gonna survive. Michael Myers is gonna die.
Yeah.
No more Halloween movies. God, we can only hope. Come on, Halloween's like my favorite horror movie. One of them, right? But we don't need any more. I think we're good. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Absolutely.
We got
Which means the studios are going to have 5 already lined up to make.
Yep.
They really don't understand the whole less is more thing.
No.
You could easily make another good slasher film. They're not complicated to make. Just make a new one.
Absolutely.
God,
absolutely.
Damn it.
I feel like Hollywood is really running out of ideas. And it's a shame.
They are. Now they're on this subject.
Well, that's because they don't have anybody whose job is ideas anywhere in the upper management.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about making money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It'll hurt them eventually.
Absolutely. I mean, Netflix is practically overtaking them, to the point that movie producers are asking, let's release the movie in theaters and on Netflix, so that we can actually reach the amount of people that we used to be able to reach just when they came to the theater. It's really a changing platform.
Well, I mean, video games are bigger than Hollywood.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So. Yeah,
but of course, and don't get me started on video games. They have a problem too, milking franchises dry until they have nothing left. Call of Duty, they did this, But though the latest Call of Duty game does look pretty damn cool, because
it does look good. And I tell you what else, Borderlands 3. I just started playing that. That's my favorite franchise.
Man, my brother-in-law had that. He brought it over. It looked cool.
Oh, it's so good.
Man. But the new Call of Duty, it was because those game journalists were like, it's giving me PTSD. It's too real. I'm like, oh, that's selling me the game even more. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm a product of the 90s. Mortal Kombat. They were like, oh, don't play this. It's too violent. Oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to play it. Are you trying to sell more copies?
Exactly.
You don't tell people not to buy something. They're just going to buy it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's like when The Exorcist came out. The religious protesters out front and making the news. It's like, man, they just drove ticket sales.
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
Sensationalize it, and it will sell more tickets. Yeah.
Well, since we're kind of off topic right now, what is your favorite slasher flick? You got one?
Oh, it will always be the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That movie frightens me to this day.
That's a good one.
Just the graininess of it, the way it's shot, like it's on like an 8mm camera, and just, oh man, I still watch it and cringe, especially when he puts that girl on that meat hook. I'm like, oh my god, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It was a super low budget film.
Yeah. And I think that's what made it so disturbing, is that it looked like it was shot with someone's video camera, like in real time. It just, it really rattles the nerves, And I even liked the remake that they did, that Michael Bay did. I thought that they did a pretty good job with that too. Surprisingly, I didn't think they were going to, but it was pretty good.
Now, before we move on, because I know you wanted to talk about novellas and the rise of them. Before we do that, let's hit up some of your other works real fast, because there's one thing, like I said, I talked about earlier. Phobia seems to play a lot in your writing. Let's see, especially with Adrift, Hydrophobia.
Yes.
And this book, from what I understand, is it a book or short story? Looks like short story.
Yes, short stories. Yeah.
Okay, and what the money was raised for a charity? Is that right?
Yeah, Hurricane Harvey. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, like I live in the Houston area, so all right, you already got me hooked on this one. Okay, so tell me about this book.
Well, Adrift was a story I wrote a couple of years ago. I started thinking about what would happen if someone died and just woke up in a boat in the middle of a large body of water, and they see this creature sitting on the stern, kind of waiting on them. And I started to think about the river Styx, and
the boatman.
Being taken across the water, but having to pay the ferryman. I thought about what would happen if you didn't have the money to pay him. What happens to you? Do you sit there in limbo until you can somehow pay for your fare? And it kind of came from
that. How do you earn that?
Yes, and that's the twist in the story, is how the character in the boat comes to get the fare so that he can be brought over to the other side.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Mr. Boatman, I'm kind of here in this boat. I don't have the money. I can think of only two things we could do to make the money, but is that how this works? I mean, you tell me.
So yeah, he finds out by slow degrees who he was in life, and by the end of the story, it really hits home who he was and the irony of who the person is that actually ends up giving him the money to be able to cross over to the other side. Let's just say he wasn't a good guy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Now, but why hydrophobia?
The element of water. I have a phobia of not being able to see land, and being out on a boat where you can't see land. I need to be able to see some kind of land in the distance, man, or I panic. And I kind of channeled that in the story, because the character really starts to panic when he realizes that there is no land in sight, and he's on this boat with this creature who won't really elaborate on what he needs to do to either save himself or be brought to where his destination is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Twilight Zone type of feel to it. I'm a big old school Twilight Zone fan, and I kind of wanted to kind of put that in there as well. The twist ending and the not knowing until the end. Well,
it's good to have that twist, to have that payoff.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So not being able to see land. So have you had that happen where you're like in a boat before and far away?
Yeah, my parents dragged me deep sea fishing, and not only did I get sick within the first 15 minutes, but I really it was not a good time, because I just couldn't deal with not seeing the land. I couldn't get home fast enough. I was just a little kid, but I just couldn't wait to get home. Be back, set foot back on the beach, back on land. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just riddled with phobias.
Man.
But
what I like to do? I would like to have you on the show with also, who was it? Maybe John Pelisano, or there's another guy. His name escapes me at the moment. Very carefree guys, like surfer dudes type, almost. Like have them talk to you about phobias. I want to know if they can, like, at the end of it, if they can try to maybe help you with the phobia, or maybe I don't.
What, talk him out of him?
Yeah,
Intervention.
That's not how it works.
yeah. It's usually through exposure, right? That's usually what.
Yes.
Have you
Yeah.
tried that? Have you tried exposing yourself to, I guess, a stimuli that?
No. Well, as far as the going to funerals, knock on wood. I've gone to a couple. I've gone to not people who were terribly close to me, but that was a kind of exposure, and I felt okay with it. But I think it's going to be different when it's God forbid, someone from my immediate family. Then I don't know how it's going to be.
Mm.
It's a bummer. It's a
Okay.
bummer topic.
No, yeah. I mean, okay. Now, but why the charity for Hurricane Harvey?
Well, I know how many people it affected. I really believed in the cause. I know that Lisa's down that way, and that I'm sure that she knew people who were affected by it, and I knew that it was a cause that was close to her heart. And I owe so much to Lisa. Lisa gave me my shot, and it was the least I could do to donate a story. I was more than happy to do it, and I would do it for any worthy charity.
Okay. And you have two other stories to see exactly where it is. Or it was. Is that a hoarder? Is that a story about a hoarder? I haven't read that one. I haven't read.
It was. It's about a guy who starts just hoarding stuff, and his daughter becomes very worried about him, and she figures that the best way to kind of get him to shape up is to bring a camera crew in that has a camera crew that works for a show like a hoarder show.
Yeah.
And they come in, and they convince him to do it, but what they don't realize is when they move certain things around, it changes the feng shui of the room, and therefore it opens up some kind of a portal that the old man was actually trying to keep closed the whole time.
Man, don't you hate when that happens?
Absolutely.
All these ghosts are appearing everywhere, man. I mean, what did the ghosts do? Did they haunt?
Jesse, it's a hoarder's grid. They shut down the grid.
Damn it! I bet. See, now I got to read the story. I wonder if there's a part where he tries to warn him. No, don't move the stuff. Don't move the stuff. You gotta shut it down. God.
Well, he literally gets bullied out of his own home, and the camera crew keeps
That's
rolling.
What happens
and
with Ghostbusters. They get bullied out of their own. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the daughter starts moving stuff, and the camera crew they start helping, and gradually things start to go awry. And we never see the old guy again, I guess, because he left town. He knew it was coming.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that camp with him. Like, hey, you want to do this? I'm washing my hands.
Yep.
I'm out of here.
I'll set up another place. Start hoarding.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And
so I got that, and I'm working on a novella and a novel at the same time right now that are really shaping up to be pretty interesting. I'm really crazy about the way they're both going. The novel deals with a phenomenon known as coffin birth. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Coffin birth. Is that where you cough and you birth something? Because I've done that before.
That would be more likely sneezing.
It's when a dead woman gives birth to a viable child.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like
I watched a show. Does Anime Club Berserk
alive?
happen?
I have heard about that.
Wait, like a stillbirth? No, stillbirth.
Someone they kept her in a.
So essentially,
They kept her in a coma until she gave birth. I've read about cases.
Yeah. Essentially, in the book, a woman is in a deadly car accident when she's 5 months pregnant, and the husband is approached by a team of specialists who have been conducting research into the phenomenon of coffin birth and whether it can be somehow brought into the 21st century and save babies who are in this type of situation. So the husband agrees to allow them to put his wife on ice to preserve her for the remainder of the pregnancy, and in the last 12 days of the pregnancy allow her to decompose, and from that the muscles in her body will then expel the living child. But that's a hot button topic, and there's going to be a lot of controversy around it, because once the media gets wind of what is happening with this experiment, there's going to be both sides who are volleying against it, volleying for it, kind of like how certain issues
now.
today.
Yeah,
exactly. Do the same thing. So that's going to be pretty interesting to write. And I'm working on a novella that is a revenge fantasy. I've never written one before, but I went and saw that Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And his revenge fantasies are really cool. Django Unchained, that one with the Nazis, what was it? Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And I figured, taking a shot in a novella, because they're very popular these days. They're selling more than novels, at least in the indie market. I saw that firsthand at Scares the Care, and I wanted to try my hand at it. So that's coming about. An African American basically gets to have his revenge upon the men who the racists who killed him. So this is going to be a lot of fun to write too. I always where the bad guys get theirs, in a really gruesome way.
Okay.
So what's the typical length of a novella now?
They say it's anywhere between 50,000 and 80,000 words.
Okay.
Yeah, about I'd say between 90 and 100 pages, about that. Mm-hmm. And it's really a challenge. I'm finding because it's word hunting, man. Like you can't go off on any tangents, because the palette isn't big enough, to really paint a large picture. So you really got to stay focused. But it's a fun challenge. I think it makes you a better writer when you concentrate more on the word economy and really staying on point. So it's a lot of fun.
Now, what is the drive? What is the drive for novellas now? I mean, novellas versus novels. Like, why does it seem to be a rise?
I think people really enjoy liking the possibility of being able to sit down and read a book in one sitting. I think I don't want to say it's an immediate gratification thing. I want to know the beginning, the middle, and the end, and then I want to go on with my day. But I think that kind of plays into it, because we're kind of in a time where people are very busy, and reading sadly is going away for too many people, and the novella kind of is that sweet spot length for them, where they're not tied into a 400-page book. They can sit down with a 100-page book and have that, like Stephen King called novellas and short stories, like quick kisses in the dark, and that's what people want, I think, nowadays.
Nothing wrong with that.
They want to do it, get it out of the way, say, hey, great story, and get on with their lives. So I think it speaks to the times and how people are, and
you got to have your game time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you give someone the complete version of The Stand, they're gonna be like, "Fuck no, I'm not reading this."
And that's such a shame, isn't it? I mean,
I know, because that is such a great book.
It is.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the fact that these It movies are being made, more people are gravitating towards reading that epic tome, which kind of gives me hope that maybe people will start coming back to these longer works of fiction. I like big books, and I cannot lie. Me too.
No, not to be a naysayer, but some of them might just be buying the book just because it's popular and they'll just sit on the shelf and never be read. Ever.
Breaks my heart.
Well,
but
it's Still helping the author.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
helping King, but it would help out. I think if they read it and I was like, okay, I'll enjoy this. Maybe I can check out this book or this other book. Maybe it would. But yeah, people just don't make time to read anymore.
It's such a shame. It really is. I see it with my students every day, and really,
That
I
really
got to
puts
get up there
perspective.
and literally act out and do voices and make it dramatic when I read to these kids, or the words are dead on the page and then out come the cell phones. That's
I
what
gotta
it's
tell you,
become.
when I go through school, those were the teachers that held my attention. The ones who read like theatrically. First, I
Yeah.
would laugh, be like, "Is this guy a Shakespearean actor?" But I was like, "Wait, like he's holding my attention. Like I like it. I want to see where he messes up. I want to see like." No, but it's like I'm paying attention though.
Yeah,
It's like, oh
yeah.
man. And then when I read it myself, I'm like, man, this doesn't sound as cool. I'm reading in my own voice. My voice is lame. I need to
Yeah.
read it like him. But yeah. Okay, so then what other things have you found? Because since you interact with the kids, directly, you see firsthand how they don't read a whole lot. What other things have you found that you have to do to get their attention or to get them interested into reading?
The way I arrange my room, it's kind of like a theater in the round. And I walk around the room with the book, and it's all about affect and doing voices for the characters and being animated up there. I mean, yeah, like you said,
Entertaining.
I kind of have to literally be a one-man show for them. But that's the only way I'm going to bring across a book like Of Mice and Men or 1984 or Animal Farm, because otherwise they just and this is not to knock the kids, but kids have a much shorter attention span than they did even 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to hold them, do whatever you got to do to hold their attention.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot of competition.
Yeah.
it used to be, at least in my experience, that if a kid came across there was like a trigger book, like if you found the right book as a child somewhere, late grade school, early junior high, that really captured you, that that one book could turn you into a reader,
Yeah.
right? Is that still the case though?
No, I'm sorry to say that it's not, because the first day I have the kids kind of introduce themselves to everybody else in the class, and one of my questions that I ask them is, do you have a favorite book? And most of them say, I don't read. I'll see the movie, but I don't
Yeah.
really have a favorite book. And man, that just, yeah, it really bums me out when I hear that, because you're absolutely right. There is a book out there for everybody that will speak to them directly and make them into a reader, but they just got to be willing. They got to be a willing participant, and they
Right.
got to want to find that book,
Now,
and they just
and this explains the rise of novellas, right? Because, like
Yeah.
you said earlier, because it's shorter, we could read in one sitting.
Mhm.
I mean, do you find that even with these kids, though? I mean, does it help?
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking for good news.
Absolutely, it helps. Absolutely, it helps. But I'm pretty excited because this year I got the green light to read The Body by Stephen King with my honors class. So I'm really looking forward to, and that's a novella, obviously. I'm looking forward to sharing that with them, because a lot of them don't really know a lot of King besides It or The Shining. And they, if they were to see Stand By Me, they probably wouldn't even associate that with King. But this is going to
No.
be a lot of fun to kind of bring them into that aspect and show them the novella form. I think they'll like that.
I hope so.
Is there such a thing as novella series?
That I don't know. That I
Okay.
don't know.
Me too.
Wait. I mean, it wouldn't be yeah, I'm sure someone has done a novella series. It doesn't. I can't think of one right now, but I'm sure it's been done, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just a series,
Probably.
just of novellas. I mean,
Right.
all right. Yeah, I mean, but you seen the rise of novellas. So, what are some popular novella authors? I know Burke, he has some good novellas. I know Chris Miller published through Dead Man's Stone, Trespass.
Yeah.
Great novella.
Yeah.
And they seem to do pretty well.
Absolutely. I can tell you, I read a really great novella called The Final Reconciliation by a buddy of mine named Todd Kiesling, that kind of delves into the King in Yellow mythos, and it centers around this rock band and their last show, and it's a really, really cool book, and I highly recommend that. That's a nice quick little kiss in the dark, nice short novella, but it really packs a punch.
You know what I like about reading novellas, though, and because there's a few that are coming to mind right now, is that, like, it gets right to the point almost. Like with a Stephen King novel, especially Stephen King, it's like it starts, I don't know, just getting off the subject and just meandering, taking forever. It's like, okay. And Anne Rice did that too. Every time she had a chance, she would describe Lestat's coat. I don't care. I really don't care. She describes it to the point where I don't give a fuck what he's wearing. I get it.
Right.
And I used to read a lot of her stuff when I was a kid. I was, but
yeah. I mean, it almost seems like they're getting paid by the word.
Yeah. Well, they will.
In a way, I guess they are.
Yeah. I'll just add another button to Lestat's coat over here. Make that like a paragraph long.
And you know who doesn't do that among popular writers is Orson Scott Card.
Mm-hmm.
He's very sparse with his descriptions. He only tells you, details that are relevant to the story. And he'll just leave everything else to your imagination.
Yes.
And that's how it should be. At least that's what I think,
Well, I mean, there's no should or shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
It just appeals more to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I know that my ex-wife would, she loved to read romances, but she would just get, bored to tears reading about, these English gardens that would go on for pages.
Get to the fucking wait. You said romance, not erotica, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah. I hope your students are listening to the show. I mean, it doesn't kind of raunchy at times.
Nah, I don't know what they're doing right now. Hopefully, they're doing my homework.
Look at that, right?
Yeah, that's what your students are doing on Friday night.
On Friday night, yeah, right.
Yeah. Homework. Playing Fortnite, playing Borderlands 3.
Can't wait to get home and do the English homework.
So, okay, have you struggled with trying to find ways? Maybe we're successful finding ways to reach an audience other than just like through writing. Okay, so you take your written work, you take your body of work, whatever, and you're like, okay, so readership seems to be dying. It seems to be decreasing. How can I reach these people that would enjoy horror? Obviously, they are entertained by it. They just don't like the medium. But maybe they would like the story. They just need it in a different way. Have you tried that?
I practiced a lot of different marketing approaches at Scares the Care, and I watched other people who are novices at it when it comes to peddling a book, and you really you kind of have to somehow make the connection between the book and the person, make it something that will appeal to them on a personal level. So if I know that it's someone who isn't per se a horror aficionado, I'll say, well, this is a book about a guy who loves his dog and will do anything to rescue his dog.
Yeah. Okay.
So you leave the dark part out, you concentrate on the light, and let them be surprised and revolted when they start reading.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You already have their money, but that's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and having a constant presence on social media, and really just doing signings whenever you can, and meeting people in person, making that connection, that personal connection with your readers. I learned from Jeff Brown, who is a writer at Stitch Smile, that it's really all about making that personal connection with the reader that will not only encourage them to buy your book, but to keep coming back every time you release something.
Okay. I'm curious, have you played around with audiobooks?
I have not. I know Stitch Smile is going to be getting more involved with that medium, and I would definitely be on board if it ever came down the pike that Broken Birds can be an audio. I think that would be a lot.
And I'm not sure what the terms are. Sorry, I'm not sure what the terms are of the contract or in the contract what rights you have, but like since you read to your class, since you read to your students in a very theatrical way, I would imagine that if you were allowed with some of your work to read it like on your own podcast or I don't know YouTube channel or it's some way to get it out there and very theatrical. I wonder if that might help. I just.
I've been thinking about that. I have been thinking about doing that. I mean, up until now, I've been. I'm a singer-songwriter. I was for 15 years. I would occasionally get on and do a song, sing and play guitar. But that is something that I definitely do want to get into as well. Doing some little excerpt live readings on some kind of medium on the internet. It's all about figuring out how to do it. Because it's kind of, I'm not really clear on how to do what, for instance, you guys do effortlessly.
Thank you. You make it seem so not effortlessly. Come on.
What,
now.
be smart asses? Lifetime of practice.
Yeah.
No, I mean you guys really. This is a tight ship, and I couldn't even imagine what goes into making this such a tight ship.
Tight shit. Well,
Tough shit.
Fiber, lots of fiber. That's what it is.
Yeah. Metamucil.
No, but thanks for that. But that seems to be the trick because I don't know if you ever read any of Tony Evans' work. He's also been published to Dead Man's Tome. Yeah, it has a short story collection of Better You Believe. See, I'm just plugging people here. Better You Believe. But he went to Scarefest, and one thing he said was like, there's a lot of people that came by the table. They just were not interested in books. They were interested in horror, but not books. So it's like, how do you reach them? They're like, well, we're interested in video games and comics and a movie. So I was like, okay, wait. So I was just thinking, if you could somehow take what you wrote, which is like the foundation of everything for any of those other mediums, pretty much like a story. You have the story, you have the characters, you have the ideas. If you could somehow take that and put it into like, I don't know, a visual novel for a game, or put it to like something audio related or something. It seems like if you could do that, you find a way to do that, you could maybe reach them. Maybe.
Yeah.
I just had a idea.
Yeah.
What if you combined audiobook with graphic novel drawings?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're gonna have to pay an author or an artist.
Yeah.
Be careful though, because YouTube, you're not really gonna make a whole lot of money through that, especially with their latest changes. Their latest changes, I don't even care about. Man, their latest change that they've done is pretty much if you are, I don't want to go down that tangent. It's gonna steal the show. It's just bad. It's just bad. But you could, at least there's a visual. There's a visual medium. They would like that. Oh, imagine if you had a table at one of those conventions and you had power, like the electric table, whatever, electric table. You hook it up, you play the podcast with the visual, with the images and all that stuff. They would come by. They'd be looking at that. I want that.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do I get a copy of that? Well, you go on Patreon. You go to this, that, and the other, and you get it. But that's also that runs into another obstacle because people want things free too. It's like how. It's like anymore. It's hard to just. It just left scratching your head. Like, what do you want? Oh man.
Yeah. It's like they have no concept of the value of anything anymore. and the effort that goes into creating content.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It can't all be free, guys. Well, if it's free, it has to be sponsored by someone, something.
Absolutely.
Through you
Somebody's
guys.
paying for it.
Yeah. Oh man. But okay, what's about the novellas? Let's see. Any other question about the novellas? Is it harder to write a novella? I think yes. Ask. Is it harder to write a novella than a novel?
Oh yeah, I'm one of those writers who needs a large palette because I want to put a lot of paint up there and a lot of different colors, and I really want to paint a picture, and it's really a challenge. But what helps is constructing a flexible outline beforehand, so that you don't find yourself writing into the weeds. A flexible outline keeps you on task. I used to be one of those writers who used to write by the seat of their pants because I heard that Stephen King did it that way, so I guess that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Wow.
And I was writing novels that were just like mangled trees that just could not be saved with any amount of editing. So I realized I had to be one of those outlining writers, but you know what? It's really helped me to write to eliminate any problems that would otherwise surface at the end, to the point that I would not know how to save the manuscript. So you keep it focused and simple with a novella. Short stories, I still find challenging because I am kind of a wordy writer, and I do need that larger palette. But you keep practicing the craft, and I guess one of these days I'll be a halfway decent short story writer. But just got to keep practicing. I'm a novel guy. I like writing long form. That's my that's always been my thing.
Okay.
And how many do you have out now?
This is my debut novel. I have a short story coming out in Tenebrous Tales, I believe in the next month, and then 2 or 3 other short stories that I've sold. But when you have that first feeling of releasing your first novel, you want to keep reviving that feeling, and the best way to do that is to just keep writing and putting stuff out there. You just feed that feeling, publish. So that's the goal,
Now, do you consistently produce something like every month?
I try to write a short story a week. I try to keep that to my goal, but sometimes the novella or the novel has to take precedent. But yeah, I try to produce a short story every week, and I send them out to anthologies and zines and different places. But it's a tough market. It's a really tough market. There's a lot of good voices out there, a lot of good writing, and it's tough. It's tough to place your story places, but you keep trying.
Have you found that like the number of outlets have decreased?
Yes, absolutely they have. Just from when I first started submitting, I want to say 15 years ago to now, it's really diminished to the point that you have a handful of go-tos now. And then anthologies. I mean, Lisa Vasquez just kind of said, just anthologies are really the way to go, because there are a lot of different outlets if you want to submit to an anthology. But in terms of magazines and digital and zines, things like that, they're going away. They are going away.
Yeah, man, zines. Like I have one that I do called Deep Fried Horror. It's pretty much free. Like you can go to the patreon.com/deadmanstone and get it for free. You don't have to be a patron.
Awesome.
But I also pay the authors for it, so it's kind of like and the whole idea is that it would be covered for by advertisers and all that stuff, but it's not really working that way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it pretty much is it's just kind of like I know it. I'll lose money in that project. And I'm just do it because I like to. But I think that's a lot of this, especially when it comes to zines, and I don't have no idea how the magazines are making money, if they are. I don't know, man. The market seems to be. I want to be awful. I really want to be hopeful. I want to be optimistic. I do. Man.
Well, I see this is a really good time to be writing horror, largely with the with the adaptation of the new It movies and how it's reaching a whole new audience of people.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of exciting books coming out. I mean, you have Josh Mallerman, you have Paul Tremblay, Jonathan Mayberry, who are just really writing some great stuff and putting it out there.
Oh, and he's working on comics too, right? Jonathan Mayberry.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Yes. Stuff. I was like, oh hell, I can't believe he was on the show one time.
Yeah, so this is really a time where horror writers should strike the iron while it's hot, because it is hot right now. It's a good time to be a horror writer, I think.
Yeah,
it's like we could be entering into the golden age, another golden age of horror, I think, because there's just so much good stuff out there. Yeah,
that'd be nice. I mean
about time, eh?
Just about time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one reason why Dead Man's Tone came out, because I noticed like this was like years ago, like 2006, 2007, around that time. I was noticing I had like a Writer's Digest with my aunts, and like half of the magazines or the outlets were like closed. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
So I got tired of like finding. Actually, I felt like, man, I was just seeing all these plays that are closing down. Like maybe, like what is it? Like, is it that hard to make money in it? And like, what's going on? Well, I found out it's kind of hard to make money in it, but I'm still doing it.
The answer is yes, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have a day job and if you can kind of keep things afloat a bit from this, that, and the other, it's okay.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
I might have to run a brothel. Do some things on the side.
Again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, it pays the bills. It pays the bills. What I can tell you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, do we have any SK, do we have any Florida versus Texas stories or anything?
We have some Florida stories.
Florida stories.
Yeah.
All right, people on there. This is where you get wild.
Again, I will reiterate that Texas has just as weird stories. They're just not as many.
Quality over quantity.
You would think otherwise. How big we are, massive state, lots of people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, all right. Let's see. Florida woman makes $100,000 a year off of tongue picks.
Wait, hold on here. Let me. Last time we did this, I was Google searching these things. Okay, hold on. Tongue picks. What kind of tongue picks are we talking about here?
Gene Simmons like tongue.
Oh, nice.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's $100,000.
Look,
that is one photogenic tongue. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh man, if you wonder how long it is, it's like the length of an iPhone. What is she holding?
Oh my god.
It is long, man. What she could do with that? Okay. I mean, no. Like, she could just wear a scary mask. She could just wear a scary mask and be a crazy horror creature. Come on, guys. I wasn't being perverted about that one. Come on now.
Oh, there's definitely work out for that lady.
Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it up. All right, I'm putting it on the screen now, so those watching can see it. Man, that is crazy. She looks like my coworker, though.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's a long tongue right there. Mine's not even that. There's no way. Mine's too short now. Jesus. Okay. All right. What's the next one?
So what's your tongue worth, Jesse?
My tongue worth? Not that.
If that's 100,000, what's yours?
Maybe 5. Hey. Oh,
Florida
man.
man throws raw burger meat on a car, police say. The victim's vehicle was not damaged.
Well, that's
A homeless Florida man threw raw hamburger meat on the hood of another man's car for an unknown reason. Jesus.
Well, he just
Why is this even a story?
I mean, is there really even? Does there even need to be a reason for that?
No, I mean,
No.
Well,
No,
what kind of
just-
raw meat? Like he got it from a grocery store, or he meant like Albert Fish, or like he was maybe practicing his stuff?
Beef.
Oh,
hamburger.
beef. Hamburger beef. Okay. Okay. All right, just making sure. Make sure I heard that right. Okay. I'm still scarred from that episode. All right. I hear raw meat. I'm like, wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah. There is in November. There's the Florida Man Music Festival going on in Orlando.
Oh yeah. That's cool. What bands?
Great labeling on that, by the way.
At Florida Man. Oh, okay. Oh wait, yeah. Is that Weezer? Weezer. Wait, is that it? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, is that the tour with Weezer and Green Day and Fall Out Boy?
Let me see.
I don't think so.
I don't know if that's
Revivalist, Shade, Matt Mason, Barnes, Courtney, White Reaper.
Oh, 311 too. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Jimmy Eat World. Okay.
They're still around?
Yeah. Apparently.
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah, half these bands I haven't heard in like forever. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay. Well, it's usually a certain mood that I have to be in to listen to that stuff. Nothing wrong with it, though, if that's your thing. All right. Any other Florida stories?
Yeah. I'm trying to... Florida man accused of exposing himself several times tells Pasco deputies he's just an asshole.
There you go. Let him go, officers. He's just an asshole.
He owns it, right?
Right?
That'll stand up in court. That's good.
Your Honor, I'm just an asshole, okay? You put me in that jail, I'm just going to be an asshole in there, okay?
You put him in jail long enough, he'll be an even bigger asshole.
Hey, is that the asshole? Oh, man. Okay. That's good. That's good.
Florida
all the
couple
stuff
busted
happening in
for
Florida?
DUI had sex in the back of the cop car. Did we do this one?
I think we did. Why did they arrest them together in the same squad car? That's so stupid.
Well, it was DUI charges. Now,
Yeah.
why were they both arrested when only one person is actually driving? Is a good question.
Because normally the other ones let go because they're not driving.
Right.
But she must have. I'm assuming he was driving. I don't know who was driving, but someone made a scene. Someone escalated something. I don't know if it was
Right.
the officer. I don't know if it's the other person. All we know is there's the couple arrested. But my thing is, in my area, maybe it's because where I live, when you get pulled over, it takes like two squad cars, even if it's just like
Yeah.
a ticket. It's like another one rolls up behind
Right.
them. I was like, really, guys? Really? Okay.
Yeah, it used to be. You know, if you saw 3 or 4 cop cars gathered at one spot, you think, "Oh shit, something bad happened." Now it's like, they're just bored.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why I'm surprised there's 2 in the same car. They could just like put them in different cars. But I guess they were very active that day.
They put them in the back of the same car, and they took all their clothes off and started going at it.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that. They got lucky in the back of a police car. Man, come on here. I mean, that county stay is going to
So
sting,
that's going to
though.
be my new dating strategy.
Well, SK, I don't know if you're gonna be able to have sex with the officer back there. I mean, I don't know. You try your luck. Or do you
It was
like?
probably a bucket list item, I think.
What are you like? You're not Bruce Campbell here. You're not gonna charm her, are you? Do you have that power? You can charm her. Be like, hey.
Clearly not. If I had that kind of power, would I be on the show on a Friday night?
Maybe you're laying low. Maybe you're like, you know,
downtime.
Yeah, trying to relax a little. Yeah, trying to recuperate. You know,
Yes,
recover from all that.
That's it. That's it. It's
and the
been
night
a
is still young.
5-year recovery period.
Come on, you're the life coach. Come on. All right. So, Mr. Molnar, what's your favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie is I think my favorite horror movie is also Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974 version.
That's not a bad movie. It's not.
Yeah,
that's good.
That is my go-to if I want to have the shit scared out of me. It still does it, even at 43. It still does it for me.
I think it's gonna hold up. I think we're gonna talk about that movie later on, like in detail, and for one of the episodes for the October Blitz. So we're gonna have to rewatch it. But yeah, man, that movie's good. That movie's a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I already said mine. Halloween. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
I remember watching that movie when I was 8, and I watched it up in my parents' bedroom, and it was on like Channel 17, and it was edited and all that stuff. But when it was over, my parents and everybody, they were all downstairs, and I could not get to them because I could not leave the room and go to my parents downstairs. I was just so damn scared of seeing that glowing mask in the darkness. You see that white Michael Myers mask in the dark, dude. It's game over.
Well, good news for you is that Michael Myers is probably gonna die tonight. Okay, because don't forget, guys, Tammy G's out there making babies of Michael Myers. Okay, and not Mike Myers,
but Michael Jr. could be on the way.
Right. Next episode, Tammy G's pregnant. Oh God! All right.
What is SK's favorite?
One of the top of my list is Alien.
Ah, yes.
But Joe Lansbury reminded me that Frailty is actually a horror movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So underappreciated.
Absolutely. That really flew under the radar, but that is a great movie.
Yeah. I've enjoyed that one since I first saw it years and years ago.
Yeah.
And I still need to see that one. That's how bad I am. I've been sitting there for a while.
Do it.
I will. Like tomorrow. Sometime. It's hard to when you have kids and all that. And I always have to blame them. I always have the kids. I'm usually with them like 24/7. All right. Well, hey, Mr. Pete Molnar, it was great having you on the show, man.
Thank you so much.
I hope you come on again sometime later. Maybe we could delve a little bit deeper into phobias, because now I have more questions since you mentioned your experience with Halloween.
Yeah.
And we talk about some other things as well. Bullshit about some other horror-related topics. We're going to need a lot of guests for October, man. Because the crazy plan is to do a show every single fucking day. How do you make that happen? You
should talk to your boss about scheduling this kind of shit, man.
But yeah, just have a lot of people come in and help out, and yeah, it was a great time. Good stuff coming. But ladies and gentlemen, you watching, listening, press the like button, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Y'all take it easy.
Night.